The Meaning of Maggie, Chapter 16. The best thing about mom and dad's honeymoon was that it wasn't just for mom and dad. They were taking us along too. And we were going to the beach in Florida. We said our goodbyes to Phyllis and Donnie, and a few days later, the house was abuzz with the busyness of packing. I shoved my swimsuit and 15 books into my suitcase, and I was Florida ready. We left extra early in the morning so dad could have time to hang with his friends at the airport before we took off. I checked one bag and mom checked the food bag, her bag and dad's bag. And then Layla and Tiffany checked their entire wardrobes. I didn't understand why their suitcases were so big when their clothes were so small, but whatever. Footnote from Mr. McNeil. In the 80s and 90s, you could bring as many bags as you wanted. It didn't really cost much more. We also said a million hellos to a million people, and I was told I looked just like dad a million times, which was really starting to bother me. I didn't have a mustache. I didn't have glasses. I wasn't a dude. I was a girl, and everyone needed to just deal with it. Anyway, we finally got on the plane and buckled up, and an hour and 15 packs of pretzels later, we landed in Orlando. A shuttle took us to our hotel, where my sisters immediately changed into their teeny swimsuits and headed for the pool. Mom lathered me up with SPF 9000, and then I put on a giant shirt, picked up a book, and looked for the biggest umbrella I could find. Mom and dad took longer to get ready because it took mom forever to cover dad in sunblock because he was 90% hair. But they eventually came down and mom waved my sisters and me over. I'm going to buy a float and we're going to pull your dad to the water on it, okay? That sounded crazy, so I said, "That sounds crazy." "There's no other way," she said. "We can't carry him all the way down there." I looked at my calves. "I don't know. I've been working out and I really think we can." She laughed. "I'll be back with a float. Watch your father." We looked over at dad, who smiled and waved as he sipped on a drink with a tiny umbrella in it. Oh dear. Mom came back a little while later with the float, and we all took turns blowing it up. Once we got the last cubic inch of air in it, we wheeled dad next to the stairs that led to the beach. "Okay, here's the plan," Layla said. "Mom and I are going to lift dad onto the float. And then, Maggie, you're going to grab the corner by his left foot. Tiffany, you grab the corner by his right foot. And mom and I will pull from the middle." "What should I do?" dad asked. "Try not to fall off," mom said. Mom and Layla gathered all their strength to pick up dad and position him on the float. Then we all took our places. "Is everybody ready?" Layla asked. "I've never been more ready," dad said. On a count of three, we're off. He yanked the float across the sand with all of our might as dad sang, "Good vibrations." Just when I thought my arms would fall off, we reached the water. Tiffany rummaged in her bag and brought out a mask and snorkel. "Can you still do this?" "Of course I can," dad declared. "I'm one with the sea." She strapped the mask and snorkel to his head, and we floated him out into the water. Then turned him onto his tummy so he could put his face in the water while his legs dangled over the sides. Off he went, searching the sea for fish and other terrifying things. Layla stayed with him to keep him company. As we walked out of the water, mom looked at Tiffany. "Why don't you go stay with dad too, okay?" "But I want to work on my tan," Tiffany huffed. "You can work on it later. I promise." Tiffany finally stopped whining and joined Layla with dad while mom and I walked back up the beach. "Why didn't you want me to stay with dad?" I asked. "I would have." "Because I only want to worry about one person drowning at a time," mom said. "Good point." We staked out a spot with a giant umbrella and opened our giant books and started our honeymoon. A little while and 100 pages later, mom decided it was time to go in. So we walked down to the beach to get dad. He was tan and sticky and couldn't move a muscle, even more than usual. The heat had really done a number on him, and his legs wouldn't bend and his arms wouldn't straighten. But eventually, we got him stable enough on the float to drag him back up the beach. We pulled and pulled, and I think he gained 1,000 pounds in the ocean. But it didn't seem to bother him since he was having a great time telling everyone on the beach that he was really rich and that we were his servants. Finally, we got him back into his chair, and Mom wheeled him to the room where I got our things, and Layla and Tiffany stayed to soak up the last hours of sunlight. After the sunset, Mom began making us peanut butter and jelly sandwiches from the food suitcase, while Tiffany made herself a fort on the floor. I don't know why I have to sleep on the floor. It isn't fair. Mom handed her a sandwich. Well, there are only two beds, and Layla is your dad's favorite, and Maggie's mine. Thanks a lot. Calm down. I was just kidding. Footnote 62. She wasn't kidding. Tiffany finally stopped pouting when Dad said we could order a movie off the TV. You used to have to do that. Can you believe that? We all ate and showered, and snuggled in our place to watch a PG-13 movie because I wouldn't watch an R-rated movie because I refused to break the law. The rest of the honeymoon was mostly the same: sun blocking, dragging Dad down the beach, reading under umbrellas, then dragging Dad back up the beach. On the very last morning, we woke up before the sun and flew home. All our dirty clothes from the trip made the biggest pile of laundry in the world. I promised Mom I'd separate the whites from the darks as soon as I unpacked my books, which I knew would take forever, and hopefully by the time forever was over, someone else would have done it. At least that was my plan. I emptied my backpack and was lining up Emily Dickinson next to William Shakespeare when I saw there was something in Mark Twain's place on my bookshelf. It was The Little Man and Little Woman from the top of Mom and Dad's wedding cake. Aha! In my cake coma, I'd forgotten that I'd set them there to watch over the rest of my books while we were away. I grabbed the tiny statue and ran to Mom and Dad's room to show them, but I was stopped by the smell of sick. Dad was throwing up, and Mom was holding the bathroom trash can under his chin. Is Dad okay? He threw up again, and Mom shooed me away. Yes, he's fine. Go, Maggie. I'm taking care of it. I walked out slowly just in case she needed me, but she didn't ask for my help. I set the tiny man and woman on their dresser. They looked like they belonged together. I was halfway out the door and I heard something fall. I turned around. The tiny man was on the ground. Mom picked him up, and then she shut the door. Right.